Well, Al Dutcher is here with weather, and Al, how's it look out there?
Well, Troy, we've had a fairly active week across the state. We had precipitation come through this last weekend, and then we had several ridge runners move through the state. The more significant one was Wednesday night into Thursday morning that caught a substantial portion of north central through southeastern Nebraska and just clipped portions of east central Nebraska. And then we had another follow-up complex move through during the overnight hours. So we have caught up a little bit on the precipitation, especially in those drier areas of the state, although we are still showing some deficits. At least this will give us some limited relief with the hope that more precipitation will come down the line as we get into the later part of the month. But overall, it does look like our most active period of weather will be this weekend, and then we'll start to see a drying trend and a warming trend as we go through much of next week. So if we look at the upper air models, we have this little troughing pattern across southern Canada extending into Nebraska, bringing that cooler air in, and also a zonal flow to move these systems in a rather rapid fashion to our east. Low pressure in the Texas Panhandle has a little bit of moisture that's trying to stream northward, and with its high pressure sagging in, there will be a convergence zone as the warm front tries to lift. This might induce some precipitation this morning across southeast Nebraska and some thunderstorm development later this afternoon, although most of the activity should move to our east as that trough starts to pivot to our east tomorrow. Do show low pressure in developing in the southwestern portion of Kansas, and that will probably induce some thunderstorm activity in Missouri and southern Iowa before we start to see the ridge building into our region as we go into Monday, and much warmer conditions in store as we return back to the upper 80s and low 90s. Low pressure at the surface of southwest Kansas doesn't have any moisture to work with as the primary feed of moisture remains to our south, and most of it will be concentrated around the Gulf Coast region, leaving much of the eastern Corn Belt high and dry, and then that trough kind of weakens as it moves toward the east. Ridge really starts to take force across the western United States. These low pressure systems to our south really don't have anything in moisture to work with, so if we do see some thunderstorm activity, maybe some pop-up showers in portions of central Kansas. By Wednesday, the core of the high pressure system will be over north central Kansas, south central Nebraska, so we're probably looking at the hottest temperatures of the week. Low pressure in northwest Kansas may induce a few thunderstorms as we get a little bit of monsoonal fetch around the periphery of this high. And on Thursday, it looks like the high will try to build back to the north a little bit. Low pressure sits in west central Kansas, does have a little moisture feed to the north, but once again, there's just no dynamics aloft to force significant thunderstorm activity, although one complex is shown to move down the Missouri River Valley as we go through Thursday night into Friday. And then Friday, yet another trough starts to move out, or a little wave moves out of the central Rockies, might induce some precipitation in western Nebraska as the main surface low remains to our north. So you see the high concentration of precipitation across the northern Missouri River Valley and in the southwestern United States, but more importantly, as we go into the extended forecast, that high pressure ridge looks like it's going to hold into place, and that should help in terms of temperatures, keeping us consistently in the 90s. And it looks like for the most part this is not going to break down until we get to late in the month at the earliest. And in terms of precipitation, with that ridge in pace, most of the precipitation is going to be forced across the northern plains and of course across the Gulf Coast, where we have a couple systems that are going to be moving along the Gulf Coast to induce moisture. But more importantly, as we look out into the future, the newest 30-day forecast does indicate that most of the Corn Belt will receive basically normal temperatures, and in terms of colder than normal conditions, that'll be relegated to the Dakotas. So we'll see whether that verifies or not. We need to see the warmth to get this crop to the finish line. And Troy, it does look like very warm conditions for the vast majority of next week.